Do you remember the tsunami that hit Pondicherry region? Yes, it was in December 2004. In its aftermath, we organized night school for children and the youth from the affected families, ensuring them they can continue their education amidst the chaos and the disaster. One day in our center, we organized several medicinal plants in pots. The moment the doors opened, all the students, especially the girls, rushed to the plants. They spent a long time watching them, touching them, reading their names written on the labels. Then they came to me and said, "We want to do that." "Do what?" I asked. "We want to do gardening." At first, I hesitated. Gardening was not part of our program. We had no fundings, no tools, no real plan. But finally, I said, "Yes, you can. Yes, you can do it." One of our trainer agronomists organized several interactive introductory sessions for them on soil, water, air, light, all plants' basic needs. Coming from rural areas, the children were very quick in understanding the technical steps. They contributed a lot themselves, drawing on their everyday knowledge to enrich the lessons. Using local gathered seeds, each student started its own vegetable garden at home. With only a few simple guidelines from us, they innovated. They imagined their own watering systems using waste waters from bathroom and kitchens. They recycled. They made also compost from animal manure and kitchen waste. Harvest soon delivered fresh, healthy vegetable and fruits to families for their own free consumption. In some cases, the surplus was shared with the neighbors in need, the elderly, the sick, those staying alone. Encouraged by the result of their first experiment, the student expanded. They moved naturally to the second step. They start speaking about their gardening project. They start telling stories which sparkle discussion on several new points: the environment, the chemical fertilizer and pesticides, the biodiversity, the respect to all living beings. To express themselves, they used several tools as dances, songs, poems, street theater. Over time, these first forms of expression evolve into educational and communication tools. such as booklets, painting exhibitions, photographic, theater plays. They organized several cultural programs in school and in their villages to share their experience, but also to educate youth, the children, and the adults. They inspired new students from other night schools. In some rural public schools, their model was taken, used to by the direction to grow vegetable and prepare meals when the school kitchen was functioning. Biology teacher used also the gardens for their science and environmental classes. They used the gardens as living labs. The children, the students were again very much encouraged and they beamed with pride, eagerly taking the visitor and explaining them the whole process from seeds to the harvest. This is how their concept traveled all the way to France. When French visitors, members of NGOs, visited the children's garden in rural areas, most of the time is the other way around. Models from northern countries are introduced or imposed on southern countries. But this time, the French visitor adapted and implemented the Indian models in Rhône-Alpes, the center region of France, in social centers, schools, and also homes for the elderly. The experience was also shared with the rural school in Lebanon. The school was experimenting a Freinet-inspired educational approach after the Beirut port's explosion. The teacher there, who served also as school directors, introduced the garden in the program. They work practically and continuously on all the stages of the garden with their Indian counterpart and were rewarded for their work growing vegetable and fruits. The model was spreading. We broadened further, inviting youth from several communities, tribals, fisherfolk, Dalits, peasants, consumers in semi-urban areas to speak about their food habit, the methods of production, the techniques of conservation, and the medicinal values. They spoke at a Pondicherry event, which is held every year, called Local Food System. The gathering brought together research institute, universities, activists, NGO leader, trade unions, consumer, peasants, women self-help groups, environmentalists, politicians, and even financial stakeholder. That gathering fostered mutual understanding and exchange. Empowerment starts with respect. Respect of people's knowledge. Respect of their wisdom and lived experiences with their interest and dream. When people are offered spaces for trial, for experimentation, they have that type of platform which has flexible guidelines. They will, when they have the freedom to create, experiment, and also propose. Recognition and appreciation of the result will strengthen their self-confidence, self-dignity, respect, courage, and confidence. That method can be used with different communities, used for different themes, used on different fields. It works especially well when it is applied to young people because they are open, they are spontaneous, they are direct, and they are creative. And when it is used with the marginalized communities, not only it strengthens their dignity and culture, but it also benefits the society as a whole, enriching it with their knowledge, their creativities, and their values. This empowerment process helps them all, make them to turn into responsible, active, and creative citizens. I'm not the only one, luckily, to practice and use this method. There are many trainers in many places in the world doing the same work. The trainer offers tools to learn, to experiment, and to take action. Individuals are free, ultimately, to decide how and when to use them. Thank you.